When I think about my mother, and I always love to say that my grandmother will say this as well, I was a spoiled child. I'm the middle child. I was a mama's boy as well. So when I start to think about now my most memorable times with her, the one that I draw to the most, which happens to be one at the time that really got on my nerves, was she worked at a university for 36 years, up until the point she died. She became a mother away from people's mothers. All the students that would come here from the islands and from other countries, she would be their local mom and would stay in contact with their parents. And she had enough love to extend to these individuals and what she later told me was that she would hope that one day somebody would do the same for her children. And now the funny thing for me in those moments was it drove me insane because all these people were walking around campus calling her mom, and I was like, hold up, that's not your mom, that's my mom. Back up. But then she would bring them home. They would come home and I'm like, why are they here? They're in my space. I would say she did this with hundreds of individuals over those years, and they still remembered her. They still kept in contact with her even after they graduated, had families of their own, and life had dispersed them across the world in different places. They still remembered her. They still called her mom. I still didn't allow them to call me brother, except for one who now lives in Miami. I call him my oldest brother, but this is my adopted oldest brother, Tyrone, that lives in Miami. But I would have to say that that was among the most memorable things, is that she had love to extend to everyone. She had a compassion for people and their experiences, and people often called on her for advice. So I kind of called her Dr. Phil at time, and later on I started calling her Ayala Van Zant. But she would just draw on different experiences and what she knew of the person and what they really needed to hear. She didn't believe in telling people what they wanted to hear. She believed in telling them what they needed to hear. And I think that's kind of what drove me to the education world, is that passion for people and seeing them grow and become more than what they are in that moment, because that kind of creates a self-renewing energy. So I finally understood why she did those things and why she was who she was, and it definitely was reflected in the love that people show for her. Even to this day, I still get messages from people on social media who they remember things or different encounters they had with her, such as times that she would scold them like their parent would when they did something that they knew they should not have been doing. And sometimes they would try to hide when they did something, but she seemed to always know. And she was waiting for them to come around, and she would listen to them, and then she would go into mother mode. And so I tried to remember that, and even now as I find myself giving advice to different people, I have to stop and laugh sometimes, because I feel like I've just taken up a mantle that she left behind, but really she left behind some tools on how we should act as people. I think the world would be such a better place if we started just showing kindness to people, respect for people, but then also holding people to a standard that you can be better, you are better than what you're showing right now. So I wish I can say thank you to her for that by continuing to live in those examples. But then it's those moments again that just stop and it makes me smile. Even as I miss her dearly, everything that she taught me is still here with me.